The only question I have is the template that you put up. That's for a third party, right?
I guess I did it with a third party.
And you had success in that. I mean, doing it that way.
Yes.
Okay, so all I got to do is fax it in the way you.
No, actually, to do it, you have to send that to your third party. The third party calls on the phone, and then when they have the person on the phone, they fax it to that person.
Oh, okay, Tom. Then my question is on the I think it's 7 something. You just have foreign written there instead of having a Social Security number. Are they going to accept that?
They accept it then. They may not accept it now. The online forms won't accept that. And in the online forms, you have to put in the Social Security number.
Okay.
But the advantage of having a third party send it in is when they start asking intrusive questions, they can say, I don't know that. This is the information I've been provided to send to you. And the reason they get away with that is actually many accountants get EINs for their clients.
That's right.
And they aren't given the total history of the corporation. They just have the basic data, and that's all they have to turn around. So if you basically say, I don't have that information, I can provide you what's here. That's basically the approach that's taken. And it's all done very politely.
Okay. Thank you, Thomas.
Okay. Now, people have done it online, but if you do it online that way, and you have to look at the appropriate box where you're saying foreign granted trust, Patrick put the example out there on the previous directory on May 1st. He had a summary of the online data. In other words, that's what is printed out once you enter all the fields into their forms. You don't fill out the SS4 form online. What you do is you fill out the SS4 form for yourself, and then when they ask the question online, you get it from the appropriate place on the form.
Right.
Well, to figure out what the appropriate place on the form is that a summary was for Patrick's private individual banker, for his individual banker, no longer private. And to figure out what the form is, you have to look at his SS4 form that he posted on April 25th. And look for that information on the form, and then on the summary, write down the box number that it came from.
Yeah.
So that then once you do that, you can go to the equivalent box on the foreign grantor trust form. Now, you won't be given online, you won't be given, but if you get that number, if you call the IRS and ask, is this a foreign grantor trust and they say yes, that suffices. That's what worked in my case, and that was almost at least 18 months ago, something like that. I did that. Well, the time is on, the date is on the form whenever I did it.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Crystal now. I'm Crystal.
Okay. Has anybody looked at these two zip files? I guess it's something like 29 documents.
And Tom, people are having trouble getting on the call tonight for some reason. I don't know.
What's the trouble they're having?
Getting on. I just got 2 calls when you was explaining about the 98 just now, and they saying they can't get on.
But if they won't tell you anything but that, we can't help them.
Okay.
Who knows?
Are they calling the right number and the right PIN number when they punch it in?
I didn't ask that, Patrick, because they on the calls regularly, so I didn't even ask.
Well,
yeah.
Occasionally, free conferencing will get into a SNP, and you will get a busy signal, and you can't even get on. In that case, what you need to do is call free conferencing support, and they usually answer very quickly. Ask them the backup number. I guess I should find the backup number. You then dial in on that backup number, and you put in our number, 559-726-1200, and the access code. In other words, you have to tell the backup number the number you were really trying to call. And I think that's a problem with their phone service. But also people can dial in, and if free conferencing is having a bad day, their call will get dropped. But if they're saying they just can't get in, if they would have told you, I got a busy signal, then I would have understood why they can't get in. But if they can't get in because the phone's in the other room and they haven't dialed it, then they can't get in.
I have a question.
So I've been through these. I've unzipped these files in 2 directories, and I've been through them. I recognize some of them. Most questions I have is on some of these SF forms, and I have to think more clearly about it.
Okay, what I had Tom post up yesterday was 2 Treasury accounts. The Social Security Mortmain Treasury account using your Social Security bank routing number and account number. And then the other one is the birth certificate to your Treasury account package. So Tom tried to put those in 2 separate files, and I don't know whether he unzipped the packages, the documents, or just left them as zip packages in the files. But basically, they're there. You can download them, okay? That's why I tried to zip them, so you could download all the files instead of trying to download individual files.
Right. Left them unzipped.
Okay? And that should give you a good starting point. And then when you listen to the calls and everything, then you should be able to start piecemealing some of this stuff together. If you've been at this for any period of time of understanding this, and then if you've got new people or something like that, try and help them, okay, to give them the understanding. Okay? I've been talking about this, so basically all my stuff is out there in audios and everything else on the group site. Okay? But if you want to find it, it's here, okay? The study material is here. You've got to pick up the books and study, okay? There's a lot of other stuff out there, misleading information, that people want to be a private citizen or a private this or a private that. You need to be a private banker. Like I said in that one document, the Bible is all about banking. It's all about commerce. We don't have to operate in commercial commerce. We can operate in lawful commerce. Every interaction between one man and another man, or one man and a woman, it's commerce. It's intercourse. Intercourse is commerce. It's not about sex in all regards, even though sex is intercourse and commerce too. One person's making a deposit into another, into a receptacary. That's all it is. It's all about banking. You get married, you bank yourself. I mean, this stuff is not complicated. It's not rocket science. But there's been a lot of misleading information getting people to go everywhere except for Cape Canaveral to shoot the damn rocket off. There is no trust, okay? It's an implied trust, in trust, but it's not a trust the way the English have the terminology of a trust set up. In the public world, we are the trustee. In the private world, we are the beneficiary of Mother Earth. The government has our assets in trust, and when we come in as the beneficiary and demand our stuff in the private against our birth certificate, there's your Treasury account, they have to act as the trustee agent or just agent to process the funds out. But in the public world, when we go in, we're not going in as a living person. We're going in our fictionary capacity. We're sending our individual banker in. Then he can basically step in both worlds, both the living and the dead world, to bring about a settlement. He stands in as the trustee over them. They're all dead. Everybody that's operating in the public world is essentially classified as being dead. Mm-hmm. Even though they're walking around, they're a living dead. They just don't know that they're dead. And that's the way we've been acting out here in a lot of cases. We didn't know that we were being operated as a dead entity. How many movies have been out here covering this stuff over and over again? You need to have control over your Social Security account. How do you get control over your Social Security account? By becoming an individual banker. Now, if you're an individual banker, you need to have your bank set up like all other banks are. A checking account and a savings account. Or an estate and a foreign grantor trust. The estate is the checking. The foreign grantor is the savings. Then as the individual banker, you also set up your control over your Mortmain Treasury account, your SS Mortmain Treasury account. You already have your birth certificate account, your BC. When you go and get a certificate of live birth from the state, your birthing state, what is that instrument?
The bond.
It's got a QSIP number on it. You just didn't realize it. It's an American banknote. The QSIP number is a 7-digit QSIP number, or a 8-digit QSIP number, a letter, and then normally 7 digits. Where the Social Security has a QSIP bond behind it, and that is the numbers on the back of the Social Security card. That's normally a 8-digit number with a letter in front of it. That's your QSIP number. The Social Security number itself with 2 dashes in it, that is your Treasury, your Mortmain, USSS, Mortmain, Treasury, bank routing number. You can route things in and out of that Treasury account. The account number is your Social Security number without any dashes. You remove the dashes. Now it's a dead man's account because it can't move. It can't run a dash. It can't go in and out. But it needs to have that bank routing number, the Social Security number, to bring things in or make deposits. But it's all being held under bondage, which is the bond is the number that's on the back of the Social Security card. And that's the QSIP number. That's what you need to go in and basically bring about the closure of that bond. But you can access the funds out of that account in the interim time. Now, basically, the birth certificate Treasury account is not bonded. They can't bond that. But the birth certificate, basically, when we signed up with Social Security, then we gave authorization to them to do a draw against that birth certificate Treasury account and move so much funds out and deposit them into a Mortmain account. It's not a trust. If it was a trust, it would still be here on continental United States of America. Mm-hmm. But it's not a trust. It's a Mortmain. That's why it's down in Puerto Rico. And that's why Puerto Rico is not a state. Is because they operate under statutory laws, not under the Constitution. Or they operate under the codes of law, not all necessarily under all the statutory laws or the Constitution. If Puerto Rico was operating under the statutory laws and the Constitution, then they could not have that Mortmain account in Puerto Rico. I said this before on the last several calls. You have to look at what is really going on and stop believing half the other BS that's out here. Half these guys, they tell you something, but they never tell you the whole damn story. Well, this guy got this. Well, how did he get it? Well, Treasury agent helped. Well, tell me more about this Treasury agent. No, they leave you hanging.
Yep.
Because they don't know the whole damn story. Yeah, they get some set-offs in court. Sometimes because the judges are halfway decent people. You go in, and in any court action, you are there to be the settler. You're the trustee over that court. That court is for profit or for hire. You are the trustee over them. They're operating in the commercial world. Everything out here, all these corporations, they're all operating in the commercial world for hire or for profit. You are the only one that has any real assets. You have to fund them. Because if they don't get the funding from you, basically they don't operate. Like I said before, they have to zero their books every year. Now they have to get authorization from the source so that they can operate. We're the source. Just like in the movie Matrix. You have to go to the source. Then you can pull a plug on these guys. Stop funding them.
Peace and blessings, family. This is Jahari from Chicago.
Okay, you're going to have to basically pick up on the call and listen to it again, but basically. Okay, now I got a certificate of title, a certificate of origin for a vehicle. Okay? On it, it has a 8-digit number with a letter in front of it. That's a QSIP number. It's in red. When you see the numbers in red, they are normally a QSIP number. Now, whether it is a bond QSIP number or a bank note QSIP number, you have to understand the difference in the numbers. This bond is with Ford Motor Credit Company. Ford Motor Company. They issued this bond to build that car. They have to supply, when we demand it, okay, when we turn around and we can send this into the Treasury to make the settlement. You get a certificate of title to your vehicle or something from the state. There's going to be a QSIP number in red on that document. They have bonded that car now. So now there's two bonds on that car. There's the bond from the manufacturer, and then there's the bond from the state. See, the bonds are supposed to be paying the bills on these things. They borrow from our assets. That bond was supposed to make the payment for that car when we claim the bond. We have to come in and claim the bonds. In a lot of cases, you're going to find out that those bonds are a hell of a lot more valuable than basically what you think they are.
Does that apply to a foreclosure situation with a mortgage also, Pat?
Yes, you've got a bond with the bank.
Gotcha.
You need to demand that bond or find out what that bond is from the bank.
Beautiful.
Any foreclosure and court action, you bring that up. I'm coming in as the source. I'm coming in as the trustee. I demand the bond be presented. You have your Social Security and your account number that basically initiated that mortgage bond. You were the initiator of it.
Right.
You can stand in and see in the public world, we stand in when we send our individual banker in. He now enters as the trustee over them. They are the beneficiary. In the private world, we are the beneficiary of Mother Earth, and the government is basically acting as a trustee or agent for us for the assets that are being held on deposit.
Got it.
Our equity. Basically, it's being held. Basically, what is a treasury? A bank. It's everything on the face of this earth is all about banking. Period. Forget this citizen bullshit. Okay? You're a banker. It all depends on what type of banker you want to be. But you need to have your 3 EINs. You need to have your estate EIN, which is your checking account. You need to have your foreign grantor trust EIN, which is your savings account in your bank. And then you have to have your CFO EIN, your employee in your private bank, because your private bank is your back pocket or your purse. And you carry that around as the living person. But you pull out your employee to go and do your dirty work for you.
Got it.
And that's your individual banker. So you need to have the 3 EINs. Then your bank is the fiduciary over the Social Security account, that Mortmain account, and also over the birth certificate account that you have. And then you do the Form 56 over those. You do the Form 56 over your 2 accounts, your 2 bank accounts, your estate and your foreign grantor trust. I posted examples of those up there. I know there's new people on the line, okay? But basically, we're trying to operate here at 12th grade level, and you're coming in at junior high. I can't backtrack in all cases for this. I can try and give you guidance, but the documents are there. The audios are there to listen to. Don't just listen to these things one time. I'm tired of people listening to it one time and then coming up and asking me every damn question under the world because they really didn't hear what was said on the audio. If they would have listened to the audio 3 or 4 times, they would have understood what I was trying to say. This isn't rocket science. You just need to slow down and think about this stuff. Don't rush into it. You rush into something, you're going to make a mistake. You have to know what the instrument says, like these SF forms. Especially one that I found yesterday, which was that SF 1047 form. Public voucher for refunds. That form was printed up on September 1973. This was before most all the computers and everything were out there. Look at the form. It ain't like any of the other forms out there. The typing and everything else is so much different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the government printing office, it was 1981. The to address is sort of like a circle. Sort of like we used to get labels like that at times to put on mailings back in the early days.
Who do we send this to?
Send it into the Treasury, to the IRS, to the submission and processing centers. We'll find out if it needs to go anyplace else. That's where we need to send everything into. I mean, basically send one into, do one and send it into each one of the 5 areas. See which one responds first.
Okay.
Get noticed. They ain't going to throw you in jail. Especially now that you know how to handle a damn court scenario. You stand as the trustee in that court. You take control of that court. They're just a corporation operating for profit or for hire. And then otherwise, and basically you don't go in under law, you move it over into equity. And equity, we're going to win every time. As long as we make a settlement and demand the bonds that they're writing out there. We've got inspector generals to basically come in and basically go after these guys if they refuse to comply with what we demand. So, there's 2 folders there. The SS Mortmain Treasury account and the birth certificate Treasury account. Most all the documents you need are located in there. Now, the SS4s to get the EIN numbers are not necessarily there. Tom's got those hit off in another place. And he's gone over that numerous times on the calls, most recent calls. So if you need to, go back and listen to those calls. Get on the Skype groups. Start asking questions on there. You also need to do a W-8BEN after you get your EINs and your Form 56 is done. When we got our banker's EIN, basically right then and there, we were declared a private bank. We don't need any other special things that some of these other gurus out here are saying, well, you need to go here, you need to go there. No, I've tried to simplify this down and say, hey, I've been to all those places, and we didn't get shit out of them doing some of that stuff, so let's back off of that. We don't need it. Let's just go forward. We've got the instruments. We're the banker. We just needed our checks. We needed to have our authorization, our account numbers, and everything else set up. And now we've got them. Now you just put the instruments in and go forward. You get those into those submission and processing centers. Ask them a question about the bond. Here, I want to submit this bond. Here's the number. Here's a copy of it. How do I get this processed? Ask them. Don't ask me. You understand?
Yep.
Sure. That also included a negotiable instrument in one of the files.
The drafts are in the files. Okay, I simplified the negotiable instrument down to a 3-part item on each page. There's
Right.
3 drafts. If you've got Word, Microsoft Word, it should come right up, and you should be able to change that.
Awesome.
Change the numbers on it from 001 to 004, 5, and 6. The next one. And then the next one. You just keep printing them out.
Mm-hmm. Where does the 56 forms go to, Patrick?
You'll send those in the first time you go into those offices of the Submission and Processing Center. It says send them to the IRS. Where you file your tax returns. Well, the tax returns that we want are with the Submission and Processing Center. They're not at the 1040 or 1041 processing centers. Those are for the public world. We're going into the private banking world using our public instruments. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Think about these things.
Patrick, I had a question about these drafts. Earlier you were talking about without recourse and endorsement with enlarged liability. Do you think that kind of still applies in this case?
With liability?
There was endorsement with enlarged liability, and it's defined as an endorsement of a bill or negotiable instrument with the written words, demand, notice, and protest waived, and payment guaranteed.
Forget it.
Okay. Well, what about without recourse?
You can put that on there if you want to. But basically, we're going in there with recourse because we're going to kick ass. We don't want it without recourse. We want them to give a recourse to us.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, see, they play all these words around and basically going to get everybody to totally mislead everything out here. Now, there is a difference between, and basically one guy is trying to use endorse instead of endorse, okay? When you're endorsing anything in the public world, it's en. When you're operating in the private, it's in. Most everything that we are doing is in the public world. That's why we're sending our individual banker in. And see, he never said anything about being an individual banker. He never had the EINs in any of this process that he was talking about. And just by luck, basically they were able to do certain things, or else they had them and they just never mentioned them in their documentation or their transcripts or their calls. That's the thing. Some of these people are not telling you the whole story.
They don't know it. If they know it, they wouldn't tell us.
So that's what you've got to look at. You've always got to ask the question, why? Because that's the way we were supposed to read the Bible, the banking instruments and banking laws of equity, which is Bible. I always get a kick out of the religious fanatics about here about the Bible, but basically that's another story.
I like the Geneva Bible. You ever read one? I got one on my computer.
Patrick?
Yes.
I sent in this on my credit card. I sent in this endorsement, the sample that you gave us, and for the credit surrender value for a minus amount. And they sent back and they said we received your letter, and we decided to permanently close your Discover card account. So, but they still want the balance.
But they still want the balance. Okay, you demand the bond.
Okay.
Say, well, if you're going to do that, I am coming in and I'm demanding the bond, and I will send the Treasury after you for that bond.
Okay.
You know how much that bond is worth?
No.
Probably a couple million.
So what if they don't tell me the bond?
Like I said, get in touch with the Treasury.
Okay.
The Treasury Department in the de jure is still there, okay? There are agents.
Okay.
The Treasury Department is over the Department of the Treasury.
So I'd send the 56 form, or this private, or the W8DEN, the substitute.
We can't hear you.
What you get?
Is this Patrick?
It looks like Patrick dropped off. You probably have to call back in. I thought you said the last time that they zeroed your balance and then discontinued the card. You're saying they... Okay, then what they're saying is since you've done this, we're not going to let you do it again. We're going to close the account.
I didn't understand you.
Okay, you said they zeroed the balance. They basically wiped out what you owed them, right?
Yes, and then I got another.
And then you got a notice that they discontinued the account.
Right.
Okay. Well, from the credit card point of view, they don't like the way that you paid them, and so they're going to not do business with you anymore.
Right. But I still have to pay the balance.
You still have what?
One letter said it was zero, and another letter said I have to pay the balance even though my account is closed.
But so you have one letter from them saying the balance is zero and another one saying you owe something?
Yes.
Was it from a third party or was it from the same people?
It's not even signed, the second one.
Which one? The second one isn't signed? Is the first one signed?
Yes.
Well, then beat them over the head with that.
Reject the order of the contract. Reject the order of the contract.
Yeah.
Tom, if
Yeah.
I remember, Patrick had simplified a lot of things, especially a lot of people are getting paid, but I believe these organizations are taking us as being ignorant. We know that they're working on our exemptions to our account, but if they're not going to register that the balance is zero, they're operating in fraud. And like Patrick said, I believe when we deal with the inspector generals, we have to get the generals involved. The general's not involved when we deal with zero out account. And I remember in some of his old applications, he said, if you want to use that card, don't totally zero it out. Leave like $3.25 on it or $2, something. And see, they can't close that account.
USFL.
So as long as if you value that account, look at it, the account is like $375. I'm going to zero out the account for $364.28. So that remains that the account is open, and so when you pay the whole balance off, what happens is that they have an option to say, we don't want to deal with you no more because they don't want to deal with the paperwork of you discharging the debt with a 1099. But if you leave a small balance on it, they have to keep the account open. So those are small little tricks when we try to zero out accounts. Just leave enough on it, $2.12 or whatever you decide. We have to. Right. We have to come up with solutions of if we value these accounts and we still want the credit line or whatever you're trying to do. Like you said, we have to think about this. So if you still want the account open, don't pay the whole thing because then they're going to say, well, we want Federal Reserve notes. Well, we know we have another way. House Joint Resolution 192 and Public Law 7310 say that we can pay it this way. So keep your account open, keep a couple of dollars on it, and pay off the higher balance, and then go ahead and finish what you're doing because the account is open. What do you think, Tom?
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Well, that's what Patrick told us about. This was like back in 2011, 2008, back then, and I remember those old tapes. So I just wanted to just add something to help people. I mean, because if you want to discharge the whole balance, keep in mind, don't discharge the whole balance. Just keep a balance of like $2, $3, $6, $8, whatever you decide. But that will keep the account remaining open.
Regards to the woman that got the two notices, one's zero and the other one is saying that she owes something.
Yes.
Well, the one where they're saying that they owe you, they're trying to recontract with you, and someone mentioned
that's right.
When you were talking, not to reject or offer the contract. That's what you do on the one that's trying to say they got to pay, and keep the other one at face value.
Correct. There you go. That's right. There you go.
Yes, Patrick's back.
All right.
Hey, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff basically is I posted also in the Skype group that sent it to Tom the link to get into the Treasury Direct site to try and get into a Direct Express card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When you go in, see that Direct Express card, they try and say that it's only for Social Security benefits. No. It's also with Treasury benefits. And the benefits you're doing now, when you're going to be submitting these items in to the Treasury, you need to have a place to deposit them. So contact the Treasury and demand to have that Treasury Direct debit card. You're transferring the funds on these checks to the United States Treasury. Now, they can hold them for us on this debit card by way of this commercial bank called Comerica Bank. But it's tied back to the Treasury.
Patrick, I called about the Treasury Direct card, and they said I just needed to have one deposit from like a check, I guess, and then I could get my card.
Yeah. You could put the request in when you submit that into the IRS, to that submission and processing center. Say, I need also a direct express card to have these funds put on this to a direct express card. Ask them.
Yep.
I mean, we've been out here making this thing so damn complicated. It's ridiculous. You have to ask. If you don't ask, you'll never get anything.
Only by asking you get the room.
But you have to know who to ask and when to ask.
Patrick, is that also when we're dealing with the Treasury Direct, is that also dealing with the estate account that's non-interest bearing?
Right. That debit card is a non-interest bearing account.
That's correct. Okay. And I have documents. It's called a civil death, and I also have documents where when you go in and set that account, I remember I heard Tom talk about Bank of America. I had my private account set up with Chase at one time, but I think I closed that account and I'm going to go with Bank of America because they understand the private banking process. So when we deal on a private banking process and we're dealing with a non-interest bearing account, we have to make sure that we're in the right classification. Would that be correct, Patrick?
Yes. But I think you'd be better off going to the Treasury.
Me too.
So how will we go to a Treasury?
Why involve a middleman when you're going to have to pay that middleman a service? You're going to be paying a service anyway when you use that direct express card and go to the ATM machine. You're going to be paying an ATM fee to draw funds out.
Unless you go to the bank that you're dealing with.
Yeah, but why do you need to go to another bank when you can just carry that damn little stinking Treasury card around in your back pocket and it covers everything?
So how will we accomplish that process where we have a direct process with the particular central bank that we know we're supposed to be dealing with?
With the bank. You deal with the Treasury.
And that's what I'm speaking of, the Treasury. How do we, you talk about the direct?
The direct express card.
Okay. Got you. I see what you're saying. Now.
Yeah, you get a Treasury debit card.
Okay. So you just put the middleman out. You don't even have to have a non-interest bearing account. But you get the express account, bam, you straight with the card they send you. Now you're good.
Yeah, you just bring it out using the drafts. You're doing a draft against the Treasury.
Right.
You're drafting currency or money into circulation out of
from
the
your own, right?
Or out
from
of
your
birth certificate.
Right. From your own funds. Right. You just make sure you to make the proper paperwork. Got you. Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
Patrick?
Yeah.
Hi. On this foreign grantors trust, is there? Did you suggest a way to have a foreign address?
No. Basically, you've got a foreign address if you're not operating as a United States citizen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You're foreign to the United States, Washington, D.C. area.
Right. No, I understand. And then what do you do for a name Is your name the only name for the account? The foreign grantors?
Patrick Devine, Patrick Devine, Patrick Devine, and Patrick Devine. That's the name on all my Social Security, my estate, my foreign grantor trust, my individual banker. How many Patrick Devines are there out here in the world? Maybe 100,000. I've got claim to 4 of them.
Okay, so you wouldn't use a different name?
No. Why muddle up the waters? Yeah, you're confused enough already. Why trying to bring somebody else in the picture?
Because that's the illusion that's being taught out there.
Yeah, I know.
True.
That's all these other gurus out here telling you and deceiving you, and half of them I think are working for the bankers anyway.
Probably right.
They're all in it for profit. Charging you, they're leading you down the wrong road. Not that they're lying to you, but they're not going to take you to the end where you need to be.
I think I got the last 5 disc or what the hell flash drives or whatever sent out. So basically, you guys should be getting those in a couple days that requested those. So the documents are on there, but basically most all the documents are on here. The only thing I did do with the latest one was I gave you a copy of the Merchant of Venice.
Be clear, Patrick, I wasn't talking about you. I'm talking about them cats out there charging $1,000 for these seminars and all that crap. If their stuff was really working, they wouldn't need to charge you.
That's right.
I mean, well, sure, they know better than the agents then.
And see, all these movies and everything, basically, they're all prepaid. Okay? Where'd the movie companies get the funds? Hell, they're all corporations. They're out here borrowing from the banks, and the banks are turning around and borrowing from the Treasury, and the Treasury, the Department of the Treasury, is basically giving them access by way of the Federal Reserve through trade acceptances to our accounts. We're the source.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
This is Feline. Okay, haven't been on for a while, so I just want to warn you, this is probably a basic question, but once you do get the bond, what do you actually do with it?
You turn around and give it to the Treasury and have them close it. Bureau of Public Debt, or basically that submission, you submit it into that submission and processing center here at the IRS.
Okay.
See,
Patrick.
when we get our bank notes, okay, and that's what you have. Each time you get a certificate of live birth, that is an American bank note against the American Treasury. Okay?
Okay.
You're going to process one of these drafts in there for so much funds against that bank note. You'll endorse the bank note over to them along with that draft and have them take the funds out. Now, the same thing with the Social Security. The bond that you're using on the Social Security is the number that's on the back of your Social Security card. That's the QSIP bond number that is there to settle the bill. But you have to have your bank routing number, which is your Social Security number. It's a Treasury bank routing number. Look at the Federal Reserve bank routing numbers. How many dashes do they have in them? But see, they all start with 2 digits. And they tell you about those 2 digits. They don't tell you about the Treasury bank routing numbers, which begin with 3 digits. And that's your Social Security. That is a Treasury bank routing number. It's not a Federal Reserve bank routing number or a commercial bank routing number. It's a special bank routing number. It's a Treasury bank routing number. See, that's the thing. People have to look and ask the question, why is this number similar to this one over here? It's 9 digits. Okay? What's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll start looking at all the damn QSIP numbers out here, and basically you start seeing, hey, the QSIP numbers basically all start with a letter, or some of them basically have a letter in the middle.
Yeah.
That's a QSIP number. That's a bond number.
That's right.
And then when you look at basically your certificate of live birth, the red number that's on there, it is only a total of 8 digits. Why not 9? Because it's not a bond. It's a note.
Okay. Another probably newbie question. When you draw from your either Social Security or birth certificate account, is there a limit? Or I know we have unlimited funds, but I want to know what would be considered outrageous for them or what?
Well, what are you doing? You want to buy a $50,000 vehicle? Put one in for $55,000, so you got some gas money too.
Okay, good idea.
I mean, basically, the car ain't gonna go nowhere if you don't have some gas to put in it.
Point taken.
Same thing. Buying a farm. Okay, you buy a farm, you're gonna need some update on the buildings or to buy some extra equipment, so you make it for a little more.
Okay.
But I mean, don't go out there and put in for $25 million when you're only needing $25,000.
Right.
You can always redo this. That you can go in and totally collapse the Social Security Mortmain account, and basically you're going to have quite a bit there anyway. Okay? That is limited.
The Mortmain account is limited?
Yes.
Okay, and that is why we're sending in the other form that costs $192 to understand what's actually in there, correct?
Well, basically we will go in and we'll send our Social Security card in with our QSIP number, our bond QSIP number in, and basically order them to terminate that bond.
Right.
So you're saying to go in and collapse the bond to replenish your Mortmain account then? What's going on?
That will collapse the Mortmain account, yes. But you can use the Mortmain account right now and draw some funds out of it to get yourself back on your feet and get into a system. Then, because you don't know how much money's in that account, and basically you may not be prepared to have all that funds transferred to you. Okay, it's like winning the $300 million lottery. Nobody is ready to handle $300 million.
Try me.
Patrick, you also talk about
you're not ready for it. You haven't got the safe to handle $300 million in cash.
Patrick, you also talked about the conversion of the funds after it's transferred inside the account. Can we also do the conversion of the funds of the value of, like I think it was Sunday we talked about the 17 of the value of the account, which will
you let the Treasury handle the conversion.
Okay, got you.
Money is not nothing but another form of barter.
I know. It's
Mhm.
digits.
The current
Reverse
barter,
accounting.
the current barter out here is one Federal Reserve dollar.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So we're supposed to be just barterers, okay, in this banking process. We barter our assets.
No interest.
Yeah, and charge no interest.
Oh, no man, nothing. Oh, no man, nothing. Which is the Bible.
Yeah. And you try and
Right.
help educate your brother.
Thank you. Just like that. So all the phones don't belong to us, and God has taught me that a long time ago. So I'm going to try to help my community and lost humanity. Lost humanity. Yeah, lost out here, killing each other on the streets. So if we understand and we are standing in the light, we stand in the light, people, all of us, we can take these funds to redevelop our communities and our lives and our families. But we have to make sure that we follow the right road. And I do believe that that is on the right road. I really do.
Yeah, just follow the book of Daniel. Basically, it's all
Right.
right there.
That's right. But see, most people don't read the Bible, Patrick and Professor. Let me tell you something. People have to interpret the Bible because they don't understand the codes in the Bible. They don't even get into it. So that's what all the secret is. And you're right. You're absolutely right. We talk about the young people coming on. We have to encourage them. The codes in the Bible, like you say in certain books, we have to read what Christ is showing us in order for us to understand what's really going on, or we'll never see the vision that God is giving you.
You are the God, okay? It's in the Bible right there, too.
There you go.
Ye are gods, okay? The gods are the ones who have the understanding, okay? The ones that can think with common sense and put it to practice. Okay? There is no hocus pocus guy out here that's going to kick you in the butt, pat you on the back.
Common sense ain't no.
You have to have good feelings. You feel that yourself. When you do that, you're the one that's patting yourself on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Common sense ain't so common.
Not anymore.
Hello. Some of us raised it.
Okay.
With good house.
Anybody else? Okay. Go ahead, you guys can keep talking if you want to. I'm going to drop off here. I got to take care of my mom.
See you later, Patrick. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay.
All right, Patrick. Peace. Peace and blessings.
Thank you, Patrick.
Okay.
Tom, this was a very encouraging call. I went down to the Chicago Recorder's office today. They did not want to file that estoppel. They was like,
Hello.
Hello?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what? I'm sorry.
I had called.
Hold on a minute.
I had called Patrick. I was downtown Chicago at the Recorder D's office, following my assignment. And what happened was.
Well, so then you have a background noise, serious background noise again, and also Brian, you got.
I do. There's nothing here.
Mute him, Tom. Mute him.
Okay, Jari, go ahead.
I have background noise.
Okay, Tom, like I was saying, so I called Patrick, the people who I studied with here, Chicago, and we got on the line, and they tried to discourage. Same thing that Ray had, same thing when he was his type of packaging. But I downloaded all the documents that you have on the website. I'm getting a better understanding of. They don't want this stuff on public record. They do not want us to claim who we are. So when you claim who you are through the estoppel, you claim the land. So as it's going to the chief judge and what have you, from my preview of the, and I've been studying for almost 10 years coming this December. And I went through wordsmithing. I know all that crap. People I study with, we are very aggressive on what we do, so we understand what we're doing as far as coming to banking. And I have not even followed somebody that's getting remedy and making good documents and presenting our status like it's supposed to be. When you're into a point where the flag is not flying at the United Nations and you don't know what your status is as national, not a U.S. citizen, you don't understand what kind of power you really have. So as we navigate through this industry of how the United States has defaulted on their, like the Pope said, their promissory note, to keep it real, we have to understand that these documents are...
In terms of recording your estoppel, you could try three things. I've heard that if you put a rescission of power of attorney on the front of your estoppel, basically that records it. The actual rescission of power of attorney doesn't really make a difference who you recite. You'll remove Obama as a power of attorney over you.
Every state official, every local, federal,
no,
state.
It's not that it doesn't make a difference who it is. Just simply the fact that it's now in the form of a removal of power of attorney, and then slap your estoppel on the back of it. It gets the estoppel on the record.
So basically, if I were to put that on my cover page, but see, you have to understand, I live in Chicago. They do not want you. The lady asked me, said, so you claim the land, right? So when she sent my birth certificate, and I had already the assessor's office with the homestead, I had the complete file. I did my research on the Illinois compound statutes.
Okay. Well, I'm only the issue of recording the estoppel. You could also try to record it in Maricopa County, Arizona, and Pinal County, Arizona.
Pima County, Arizona.
Pinal County, Arizona says they'll record a ham sandwich.
Got it.
Maricopa County says they'll record a hamburger.
Okay. But right, because I do remember that on some of your calls. And you know what? I'm going to send it to them to get it recorded.
Yeah,
but
once you
but you know what? But see, what Patrick told me, and we was on the phone call with two other Yahoo group members, Patrick said, you know what? Don't worry about it. And I'm looking through the files, and I downloaded it today with the estoppel being filed at certain offices. So we claiming who we are there. But I would like it to get it recorded. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to record it at Pinal County, Arizona. So I'm writing that down. Because I do remember you said that, I think in August call that I was, or maybe it was later. But I do remember that on some.
Makes a difference.
I do remember that on some of the audio.
Patrick's new documents, the 29 documents he sent, he doesn't have the estoppel in there. And he has said in some of the previous calls, let's put that aside. So it won't hurt if you can get it recorded, but it looks like it's not necessary. Right. That's what he said. He basically pointed everything back to IRS forms. SF4s, WBN. So I went to the state building in Chicago. It was 230 South Dearborn, across the street from the famous federal court. I went to IRS office, went to the Homeland Security office. I'm asking questions. I mean, I'm inquisitive because I need to make sure that I've been doing this research for almost 10 years,
and nobody else have got remedy or resorts. And I remember back in, I think it was like 2008, 20. And
what interests me more is on these SF forms that he has. I think we need to think more about exactly how to fill them out.
That's what he said. SF
1047, 1145, 270, 25A, and 1080.
Right. He also mentioned the 56F. So as we spoke to him this morning.
Yeah, we've had that. These SF forms are new. The 56s and the EINs we should have accomplished already.
Right. So basically, he was giving me an update was saying, well, once you give notice to the IRS that you are the executor of the account, all the other stuff is not even necessary.
You mean with the estoppel?
Right. But
okay.
I remember what you said about Peter County, Arizona. I still like to file the estoppel because I did such a wonderful job on presenting it. I'm going to send it to them because I'm going to Google it.
But also, I'm applied in Chicago by just simply putting an irrelevant rescission of power of attorney on the front of it and see if they'll buy it. I was told that most recorders will. That almost any recording, once you they have to file a rescission of power of attorney.
So basically, I should put on the front of my cover page, rescission of power of attorney.
No, fill out, get an example of rescission of power of attorney and make that the first page of your document.
And then put a cover page
on
that.
It's like making a rescission of power of attorney.
Okay.
And
is that right?
Your additional pages is how you want your pizza made.
Okay, got you. Is that Ray who I heard?
Yeah.
Yep, that's me.
Hey, Ray, what's up, man?
Not much. What's happening, dude?
Man, I've been listening to the calls and I've been hearing your voice, and I knew you was off, but I'm glad to hear you, brother. So look, we're gonna do this thing. We, just trying to learn from one another. That's what the conference call is all about, having a round table, trying to chop it up and understand what we need to do.
Okay. Well, I think we should study these SF forms because Patrick has pretty much explained the other ones pretty thoroughly. And maybe we should have our own separate call where we deal with just the SF forms. In what situations do they apply?
Right.
What other documents do they go with? I can see some situations where you would include it and other ones where you don't.
Okay. Is it okay for me to give Ray my phone number?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ray. Give me a call. Look, Ray, give me a call. I'm at 708.
No, that's
Hold
okay.
Hold on.
You don't have to tell me. It's right here.
I'm right here. I'm going to write it down.
I see your phone number, Jahari.
Okay.
You was on the call?
I'm in contact with you. But...
That's sure. What's up, bro?
What's up, fam? How you doing, man?
Peace and blessings. I'm at 708-473-29.
No.
It's
This is gonna be the last call, so I hope y'all got it in tonight.
Yes, it is. 708-297.
That's 708-297-4739 is what you have here.
Right. Correct.
4739?
That's what I meant. Yes.
Okay.
297-4739, Ray.
4739. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Long time no hear from you.
You know what? I've been listening to the calls all the way from April to the present date, and I know you've been going through, and you're definitely a scientist, bro. And same with you, Tom. I mean, you're giving y'all everything that you putting on there. You trying to make sure everybody is being informed. But we always rely on the professor. To me and a person who I study with, we gave Patrick that name, the professor, because you know what he is. He's not of this world. He going to the spiritual side of it, and I'm talking about the technology of it, and break it down to us so we can understand. And the ones who have the vision to see, we will. The ones who don't, they won't. But the fact of the matter is,
but he wants us to be able to take the great research that he's come up with and put it together ourselves.
That's right.
So that we can do it on the Skype group, but the Skype group needs to talk about 90% something else. We need we can devote calls to specific subjects rather than going in and talking about everything.
Okay. You know what? And
have an agenda.
Pardon?
Thomas, you should just have a call on that 98, man. You shouldn't even have to schedule it. You know, it's going to be like Wednesday at 4 o'clock. If people don't get on, they just don't get on.
Well, my approach is that if you guys want a call, you schedule it, and then we'll do it. Then I know you're going to
But you know what? We also should make sure that we schedule a call for the bankers EIN because, see, a lot of people having problems. Make sure they have the 3 kings in place. And the only way that we able to operate
the EINs vary. They're not all 98 EINs.
Right.
I have a 47 EIN private bank individual banker. It's a 47.
That's fine.
Everyone's can be different. Depends where you are.
Patrick did say right. It depends on the region. Patrick did the same thing. That's correct. We have to understand the region that you're in, and I understand that. But we also need to, the people who need help with the individual bank EIN number and their foreign entity number, they need help with that. Because when you deal with these people at the IRS office, they like trying to persecute people, man, from trying to be free. They really are.
Well,
I just came out to
got them all online.
I got it on my EINs. I got my estate, my foreign grantors, and my individual banker. Okay? Nobody's come after me. Nobody's given me any hell. I have not gotten even a call from the IRS.
Brother Ray, listen to me. The other day, I did my individual bankers online with an associate of mine. Brother Yasha Ron is online right now. They denied me, so I had to fill mine out and then fax it to them because they said somebody was trying to go into my account. So everybody is different. I have a 98 series EIN number because, see, I'm coming in as a Cherokee Choctaw. I'm an Aborigine indigenous of the land. So first of all, when we come into certain criteria of what we're trying to do, when we understand where we at and your status is the most prominent thing of this whole situation. If you do not have status, you have nothing. So they told me, well, you can't get your individual banker's EIN number because something's going on here. So I took the document and I faxed it to them. I have a fax machine. And so I'm waiting for them either by Friday or Monday to get my individual banker's EIN number because I have things I need to discharge because they arrested me for the right to travel. I was in prison for a year and a half. So now as we learn more and submit certain documents to the people, then pay the bond off, then what we can do is free ourselves from all debt. It's all about no man nothing. So when we don't balance the scripture, like Patrick said.
Not to say much. Everything can get done. And this is going to sound crazy to you, okay? But just have a little bit more patience and a little bit more faith. I was living homeless on the street, okay? Even being homeless.
I know, Ray. That's why I love you, bro, because you know what? You came up from your bootstrap. That's why I love you, brother.
Let me speak for a second, please.
Go ahead.
On the street with very little help, I managed to go out and get my EINs. They were no problem to get. Like I said, have a little bit of patience. And believe me, you're going to make this thing work for yourself. I'm not the brightest cookie in the box, but God knows if I can do it, everybody else can too. It's not that hard.
I know, Ray, but you know what? See, that's why I love you, brother, because I listened to the videos, audios, and I heard your story, and I was missing you for a minute. But the fact of the matter is, your story sounds a lot like mine, because I was homeless at one time. But the fact of the matter is, when something is in you, and you push it forward to make sure because you visualize inside your head. You know you is greater than your circumstances, which is good. But the fact of the matter is, that's what we all hear on the network right now. So we try to understand. And everybody will bring something to the table, even from the smallest person who had just started studying. Now, I have 10 years under my belt. But the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of bad information out there. But as we study and when we see valid stuff, and then when they hit our spirit, we say, this is going to work.
But pay attention to what Patrick is saying. Analyze what Patrick is saying. Challenge what Patrick is saying by going in and doing it. And if you don't totally understand it, do yourself a favor. Back off. Pray for the answer to come to you, not in the word of God or whatever, but pray to yourself and say,
right,
let it come to me. Write it on the back of your hand. Okay, do whatever it takes to bring it back into your mind, and you'll get it.
I agree with you. I agree with you, sir.
So
you know what?
Let it right now go, and there's a lot of things to be said and done. So I'm going to let you go because other people might.
I would like to say something because, the other two numbers ain't no problem getting those. That 98 is a problem. Many of us is having problems. I don't know why ain't nobody saying nothing about it, because that's probably the only number everybody else don't have. So that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Well, you know what? Well, excuse me, is Miss Queen Zafina on the line, because we have a connection that could do like Tom did, a third-party person that gets your EIN number. We have the information, and if she's on the line, I thought she would be on the line, but let me talk to her, and we'll post it on the website, Tom, because we do have a person who gets your 98, a third-party person, just like you said, and at this particular point, if anybody have a problem getting an EIN, I can help you with that. And another thing is that we have another person on the line, Brother Ya Sharon, that can help you get your individual banker. And he's a very good teacher, and he's a wonderful person to walk you through it. So,
if you guys want, set aside a time, probably in the afternoon on some day, where we can have a call where we simply talk about the EINs, and then we'll record that, because I don't know where the EIN call was, except that we did it on a Saturday, and our normal calls are, Sunday and Wednesday. So look at the dates. Look at the dates in the call section, and find one that's on a Saturday. That's probably it.
Okay.
Thomas, I remember
that. You know what? I believe as we're doing this roundtable, we all should be concerned about trying to help everybody get themselves caught up to what they need to be and understand what they need to understand, because this stuff is like you said, it's not rocket science.
The chief problem is when we have the calls, we begin talking about everything else but the subject.
That's exactly what happened on the call you talking about, Tom. Because I was there on that call. I remember that.
So we have to concentrate and stick just to the subject. Whatever subject we pick, let's stick to that and not to go into all kinds of other past history.
Is tomorrow too soon? And I hope y'all agree with tomorrow, man. Tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning, tomorrow something. The clock is ticking.
It may be. I think we should leave it on. Pick a date if you want, and put it on the Skype group, and put a Yahoo email out. And but at least a bunch of people should at least agree to the date.
Right.
And then I'll set it.
All right.
And then the people who need help, they will tune in.
Right. So I suggest the time at 3:00 someday, whatever day you want.
But Tom, check this out though. I mean, since you're gonna record it anyway, it shouldn't matter who's on the call or not.
Well, yes, it does. We want the people on the call to discuss it. We don't want people sitting in the grandstand not being involved.
Right, because if anybody having problems with what they're trying to do or receive the 3 kings, and then if we can walk them through it to make sure they apprehend what they need to get, that's the goal right there.
That's what the call is for. I mean, what I'm saying is you don't need 50 people on the call to discuss how you're going to do a third-party 98. You don't need...
That's
true. But if there are 50, if there are 20 people having the problem and only 2 show up, what good is it?
What good is that if the 2 people on the call is thorough about how you're supposed to do it in the first place.
No.
I mean, now if they fuck it up, then it's fucked up.
The 20 people need to get them talk to each other and make sure they all understand it.
All right, man. All right. I mean, and just for
shit. You're right. You know what?
I mean, I got my 98, so I'm just trying to make sure everybody else don't get.
You know what? See, everything is gonna be always updated on the Yahoo group because Tom is making sure all that's coming forth. But the fact of the matter is, if it doesn't really make a difference on how many people is on the call.
Okay, this is Patrick. Let me interrupt here, okay? You guys are getting basically a little confused here. You think that 98 number is needed right now. You don't need it right now, okay? If you've got your estate EIN number and you've got your individual banker EIN number, you can run against your Mortmain account and start getting funds out of it. The only reason you need that 98 number is to go after your birth certificate, your Treasury in Philadelphia. You don't need that right now. You need to collapse the other one first. There's a lot of funds in that one to suffice you. Okay? So,
your account.
You don't need to have that 98 number tomorrow. You don't need it Friday. Okay? Pick a date and basically give everybody an opportunity to get on the call that needs to have the 98 number, that they don't need it today. They don't need it tomorrow. They don't need it next week. Okay?
Right.
You've got your estate EIN and you've got your individual banker EIN. You can run with the Mortmain account and get that one going. Okay?
There are a number of people.
Think about these things, what you're doing. That's what I keep trying to tell you. Think. Okay?
There are a number of people, Patrick, who had confusion getting even any EIN number, and when we did have that other call, it wasn't just about the 98. It was about getting the bankers and the estate too.
Yeah, there's enough people out here that basically they can help them individually, tell them what they did to get it online. Okay?
Right.
I put the summary for my individual banker's EIN. When you go in, and make sure you go into the IRS site, not to these other corporate sites that are getting EIN numbers and charging you for them. You need to be able to go into the one that has the IRS forms and everything. And then basically you just go through the summary that I posted up there. And when you get to that page, if it don't look close to it, then back up and start over again.
Right.
And the estate, basically, there should be no problem in getting an estate EIN. You just tell your person, hey, that guy's dead.
Right. Once the SS4 is done, you update the account right there.
Even in the SS form, where it asks for the Social Security number, it says decedent Social Security number.
That's right. There you go.
Okay.
And then it asks for, right, there you go. And then they're going to appoint you an EIN number for the reason that you will. That's correct.
Yeah, you own the account, but basically the Social Security number is for your fictional person. Basically,
right.
That Mortmain, and he's dead.
Correct.
He can't move.
Right.
And you're acting just like a representative using the same name. That's why I say I've got 5 Patrick Divines in my process. One of them's dead.
I heard that.
The others are all pretty much all fictions.
There you go.
See, that's the thing. You just got to think about these things. And basically, which world are you in, Dorothy? Or
put your heels at the reality.
Yeah. Are you in the fictional world or are you in the living world? And basically, in the living world, we're not to be seen in the fictional world. And basically, everything running around out here is in the fictional world.
That's where the CFO comes into process, right?
That's when he comes in, basically, with the power to stand in the
right.
fictional world as the trustee over them.
To handle your estate business.
Yeah.
He's one of our robots.
Yep.
And see, then you know that and when you come in, and the trustee is always the key person, the fiduciary and trustee, they have the power. You don't let the corporation, the fictionals, have the power in the public world. You have to take it away from them. You have to be like, basically, Wesley Snipes in the damn Blade. Start killing off these vampires.
And they come in for settlement?
Yeah. You start killing the bonds.
Tell her to come. There you go. There you go.
Okay, you guys go ahead. I'm going to drop off here. Good. Later. Good night.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
There you go.
Okay, so shall we wrap it up so I can post the call, or you have anything else?
I think we are good, Tom.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if you guys want to discuss the EIN number and the SF forms, set aside a time so we can discuss just that. And we should have a few days' notice for it, but I don't think it's good for just 2 people to show up and discuss it and then 20 other people come in and try to make sense out of that.
Right. Well, I hope
we need to have the people on the call who are having the problems.
That's right.
Right. I hope people sign up for it because I have information where people can get the 98 series and Brother Yasharon can help them to get their individual banker's EIN number.
Right.
So at that particular point,
the state and individual banker are easy, and actually the getting the foreign grant of trust, it does not necessarily have to be a 98, and also it's not needed right now.
Correct. Because that's what Patrick said.
It makes more sense for us to deal with these 2 packages that Patrick just put out and get some funds. The 98 number is when we do a total liquidation.
Correct. But we also do know that people do need it because as you finish the process to make sure that everything is set in place, they're going to still need the foreign grantors. So I believe that even people having problems with the individual bankers, the foreign grantors trust should be like latched on to it. And so
right, but again,
it might not need it now.
It's
right.
not the biggest priority.
It might not be needed now, but further down the road, it's going to be needed. And I do believe that
further down the road, it's going to be needed. It's not the priority now.
Right.
But also,
correct. I understand that.
You guys are going too far ahead with the estoppel by deed, because if right now that estoppel, that old estoppel, you have to reword it to have the words that are being used now in that estoppel.
That's true.
So you can't, if you go in and put the estoppel the way that it is, they still might laugh at you for the fact that you're not coming in. Okay.
Yeah, we need to get the CFO, the individual banker, and the public trustee wrapped into it.
Exactly. So,
okay.
Okay. So
think about that.
So we need
before
to
you go out and try to stop them.
So we need to modify the words and basically update it.
Review the in terms of everything that learned in the past week.
Pardon? Say it again, Tom.
Review the estoppel in terms of everything that we have learned in the last few weeks. There's some new concepts introduced.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I have been downloading all the latest documents. My computer is working right now because I took it to Best Buy to Geek Squad, and it's been working fine since Sunday.
The new directory, Treasury accounts, contains the documents we need, except that you also have to include the 56s and the EINs.
Right. You know what? I also downloaded those documents today as you speak. So and I haven't had a chance to review them. I'm looking at the.
Yes, everybody should review them before we go further.
Especially those merchant coupons, the SSN Mortmain account, the SSN state account. So I've seen them, and I do know that they are pertinent to making sure that you are putting certain orders in. Right.
Very good. Let's wrap this, and I'll get the recordings to them.
Okay.